These are the meditations of Kantes. On today's meditation, today I am going to share a big part of, not a big part, but a part of my story, and I'll share it while explaining this phenomena with narcissism and empathy. You see, with narcissism, there's a invisible plug, like an invisible, not just plug, like a pipe that's taking energy from you to them. The same way there's a pipe that's taking water from whichever tank to your house or wherever. You see, there's a transportation system, and this transportation system is designed to take energy from you, living force, life force, from you to them. Now, to my story. So when I was working, when I had begun to become fully aware, because I wasn't aware. Like one day I knew. It was like slowly I was piecing it together, and I was the most loyal of the family setup. You know how it is, scapegoats. You're the one who never leaves, until you leave. Meaning you're not, even when there's trouble or anything, you're the one who actually maintains that family setup, because you never fidget, you never complain too much. You're just there. You're so reliable, so stable, and they're throwing all the abuse at you. You're like a good dustbin. I know it might be painful for you. I'm talking about myself and the role I played since I was young. Of course, since I was young, since I can remember. So I want to, I don't want to go too much far into my life, but this plug, keep in mind the plug that I've told you in the beginning of the video, where there's a plug that's coming from you to them. This plug is of energy. It's taking energy like a child, like the umbilical cord. It's taking energy from you to them. And then there's another plug. It could be the same plug, the same pipe, whatever you want to, put there. That's taking bullshit and demons and negative energy from them to you. So it's an energy exchange. That's what it's like, a market. When you go to a market, you bring your money, you go but you exchange it for foodstuffs. Back in the day, it was you have 1 kilo of mangoes, I have 1 kilo of lemons, we exchange. It's a barter trade, it's an exchange of things. You see, that's how the universe is. You give and take. They are giving you bad negative energy, and I've told you how it's a blessing in one of my videos if you understand alchemy. But over time you stop. Even this is when you have no option, when you can alchemize this energy, because you have to be around them. But it's an unbalanced relationship, because they are giving you dark and negative energy, and you are giving them light energy. Now when you awaken, this plug is cut, or at least for the time being, it is. It's like if the plug was like this, it starts to become smaller and smaller the more you awaken. So they are getting little and little and little. And not only that, the dark energy that they were giving you, that plug is also becoming smaller and smaller. So they are retaining more of their dark energy, and they are siphoning less of your light energy. So they have more of their dark energy. This is why they say when you leave the narc, they'll self destruct, because that's what dark energy does. It eats itself. It's like it just goes into itself and eats itself. When you're awakening, for me, now onto my story, when I was awakening, as I began to piece these pieces together, the knocks around me started to see my confidence increase. I did something incredibly bold that I hadn't done in a while or ever, which was, I think, this was 23. I created it's kind of an app type of thing, and I actually went to a lot of offices around where I lived, and I was pitching out my idea on how to help them, etc., etc. It didn't go fully. I got a lot of business cards and a lot of, like, you can come to a job and do whatever. But the app never really, even though I'm using it now, it never really went the way I wanted. So when the NAC heard of this, it's like the main NAC, who was my mother, the narcissistic mother, they discovered that my confidence has started to increase. So when an empath's confidence starts to increase, their light increases, and when their light increases, the demons and the narcs cannot dwell around you when your confidence is high. That's why when you come around them, they have to bring you down a bit, because your light is too much. So my light at that time was a lot, and this is of course in me analyzing all that happened. So I called the knock who I've told you. I called them, and they were the first one I called, and I told them what had happened. And they were like, "Oh my God, where did you get this confidence from?" That was the first thing I had, and I never forgot that. Where did you get this confidence from? That's what she asked me, and I kept that. As an empath, you see and you listen, but you keep quiet. You see and you listen until you're like a good lawyer who pieces different, you know, pieces of evidence, and then when it's time, it's when you present your full case before the most time. Because really, this entanglement with knacks, only God can free you, man. That's why you need a lot of strength. That's why the survivors and the thrivers, who I'm thriving as a motherfucker, and I will continue to do so as I share, they tell you to go as far from these people as you can. So once this is me looking at their gameplay. You can see their gameplay when you are an awakened empath. You're like a you're like a person who knows what the scores of a game before they get even played. This player is going to score. So the knack, this is how I'm interpreting how they thought, because I know how they think now. They were like, oh, this person's confidence is increasing. It's increasing a bit too much. We need to put our traumatic pipes back into this nigger. So I told you, I don't know if I've posted that video. One of the traumatic experiences that I went through, and most scapegoats are exposed to, is domestic violence. And you'll be surprised to find that the domestic violence that is involved in most narcissistic dysfunctional families is one. It is voluntarily engaged by both parties who are involved, be it the woman and the man. They are both voluntarily involved in this. As crazy as that's going to sound, they're both most of the time voluntarily. That's why you can tell a woman who's being exposed to this, leave your house. She's not going to leave. This is just another Monday. the she'll get beaten up in front of her kids, and then the next week the narcissistic husband will go and buy her a washing machine to sort things out, and they'll move forward. You see, that's how I knew the narcissistic woman who I called madre, mother. I don't give them that title anymore. You dig what I'm saying? Caretaker. This is how I knew they were knacks. Once she heard that my confidence has come back, she instigated. They can't do these things alone. She called the entire family setup, and they built this scenario. They are actors. It's like they had this meeting, and they said, this is your role, this is your script, this is your script. And they reenacted what had continued to happen ever since I was a child. And the narcissistic father came in, started a big fight with the narcissistic mother, and this one was big. They had to make it big. You see, they had to make this particular, this one big, because I was close to waking up. Or I had waking up. They just didn't know it. So I'm doing good this time. I'm in a good phase. I had just gotten a scholarship to a particular whatever institution. On your app, I've just done a good app there. I want to go and show it. The narcissistic father is called by the narcissistic mother, because my narc mother could not expose herself. She always wanted to hide the hate that she had for me, so she would always use the narc father to try and bring me down. So she talked to the narc father. I knew she talked to the NAC father, because I never told the NAC father that I went to do that. So I knew she talked with her, and the NAC father was like, hey, don't build apps, you might get discovered by people. People who build apps get a lot of money, and you might get a lot of money, and someone might kill you to get the invention. So just keep your invention. Of course, they have to pull me down. But that didn't work. They could feel I was still strong. So in the middle of the night, as it always happened, the NAC father came in drunk. The NAC father starts beating the NAC mother and the other siblings who are involved in this. That's why I told you, golden child, paralyzed, all these things are NACs. They call the empath who's deep in sleep. They come and wake me up to go and see all these traumatic experiences, because these traumatic experiences are supposed to bring you down. They're supposed to bring your energy down, so that they could now put that plug. You remember that imaginary plug I told you in the beginning of the video, that takes light from you to them and takes darkness from them to you. They wanted to instantiate this dynamic again. I refused, of course. And if you're an empath, you know how the story goes. Whenever they create a situation like that, on that day, that was the final fight. That was my final awakening. They didn't know, because while they were beating each other and they were trying to, bring my energy down, because I was there, I'm looking at them. I had some affection with the Nak mother, not knowing the Nak mother is the one who's created all this. She's gone and told them, hey, this guy is connected to me, beat me. She's told the Nak father to beat her in front of me. Nigga, if you think this is a movie, go do something else, man. This is real stuff. And I'm here standing, man. I'm a motherfucker. Just like you. That's how I know I'm in the right club. Once I saw Chosen Ones, I knew. Because you know what these people are, what they're capable of doing. So they bring the Nak mother who I was connected to emotionally at that time. I've since, done my thing. That's how I'm able to even openly speak about it. And they beat her in front of me because the intention was, and I could, from the corner of my eye, I was able to see while this whole things was happening, she was looking at me. They never stopped looking at me because I'm the one they are intending to, they were trying to bring me down so that I would, forgo the scholarship. It was a tough scholarship, a tough institution, but I moved through it. They never wanted my app to see the light of day, even though that was the app I presented to get my scholarship anyway. But so that never failed. But while this commotion is happening, this is why I want to share this story. That's how you know God is a blessing. While they were doing this, and the siblings are on the other side, they're watching. I'm the only one trying to stop this Nak father and Nak mother from fighting. You see, because this is the same thing that had happened when I was a child. So they knew what they were doing. So once they do that, as they were doing that, I don't know what came over me. I don't know. I didn't even know any of this narcissism stuff. I just started shouting, "This is not my future." I started shouting with deep tears. Narcs we cry. Empaths we cry real tears. You see, they can say man, woman, it's okay. An empath will, even a man will cry when it was an authentic. I felt, looking back, it was like I was mourning the parents, because that was when the generational curse had begun to be truly broken. Because once they were doing all that to instantiate that emotion, that spiritual plug, I unplugged it even further. And this is how I unplugged it. This deep thing started coming over me, and I started shouting, "This is not my future. This is not going to be my life." This is before I even knew about generational curse breaking. I started shouting while I'm in tears. I'm the one they've beaten each other up. There are other siblings in that family, but I'm the one who is now cleaning the mess. You see, so as I'm cleaning the mess, because this is normal for you as an emperor, this was your normal life. I start shouting, "This is not gonna be my life. This is not gonna be the life of, of my future kids or whatever. You see, this is not gonna be my portion for my life, for my future. I cut all the cords even for my family. And I don't have I don't have kids or any of those type of things. But it just came out. Even the narc said, "Which family? This family?" I said, "No, my family." And I'm in like this emotional delirious state. I don't even know what I'm saying. Now that I'm deep into this generational curse breaking stuff, I know just how deep it is. You dig what I'm saying? So while they were doing that, I started shouting, and I don't know, from that day, this was 2 years ago, from that day, my awakening has just continued to go higher and higher and higher and higher. They were unable to put those plugs into me in that commotion, whatever you want to call it, that they wanted to recreate, because I could see it with my eyes then. Not then, but I could see there was something that was. That's why I started shouting, "This is not gonna be my portion," because there was a lot of confusion, a lot of, how do I say it? Something was just off. This was not natural for them to do it. That's how I'm able to to go back into my mind and say, oh, they saw me, I was doing well, I was beginning to awake. So they had to plug those traumatic experiences back in to bring my vibration down so that they could put it in. Because when you go as an an empath, you are as far as the sun. Can someone try to put any plug into the sun? They can't. They can't. That's how it becomes for you as an empath the more you awaken. But it's an amazing story that I want to share with you, because despite all that drama that happened, and I know it's the same case for you as an empath, and there's a, how would I call it? It's something common with NARC survivors, that when the NARC realize that they were about to wake, they try something to put you back in, but then they fail. You see, but then they fail, and that's how you escape. It's like in that all that commotion to try to bring you back, that's when you find like the door, cha, and you go. You see, and that's how I left. Of course, it took how many years? It took about a year and some months for me to leave. Remember, I'm still quite a young man. Not that I'm using it as an excuse. So it can be tough, but it's always going to be tough, because be it as I'm a young man, I'm seeing other people who had like wives and children, and I can't even imagine that type of situation. You see, that's that's tough, and there are some who've overcome that. So I know mine is it's tough for me, but it could have been way tougher. Anyway, now empaths and chosen ones, these words are just empath, they're just on my lips. I'd like to hear your story of that particular story, that particular situation where the knocks in your life try to create a traumatic experience to bring you back, like a pullback. It's like an energetic pullback, and it has to be big. This has to be big. That one was big. That was the experience that from then the relationship was never the same. You see, because I had broken free from that because of that big. I mean, it was big, man. I mean, they went all out. This is how deep they can be. And you think knacks give a fuck about themselves? They would cut their right hand if it meant putting you back to sleep. You see, so this knack woman caretaker was willing to get beaten up to a, how do I say it, to a devastating point. I was in tears. That's how they were being beaten up. But that's how I know it was based on their own instruction. You think that the evil is just in the movies, in the Nigerian movies. It's here. They were willing to be beaten up, have their head, a knee put on their head by the same person they call Nasji husband, and they'll protect this nigga. And then later, a few weeks on, they were given a washing machine, and they had to wait until the next scuffle so that they can get the next gift. In fact, it was something common for the knack woman, the caretaker, to create chaos so that she would then guilt the knack father. You know how they do, so that they would then guilt them to buying something or doing something. It's just this dysfunction, and I'm so grateful to be out of it, man. I really am. I'm so grateful to be here sharing my story. All these are stories now, reference points for how strong I am and how strong you hopefully realize you are. Blessings to you.